But if you had serious money to burn, surely you'd have to consider an iconic mark of British motoring. A brand with the royal seal of approval from 2 future kings. A name synonymous with excellence, luxury and glamour. Aston Martin. Oh, is he nicking that badge?
The DB5, absolutely beautiful. I mean, it really is another showstopper.
Of course, it's the car that everybody loves, isn't it? In fact, I saw one recently, and I stood there for 10, 15 minutes just staring at it. I mean, it's a piece of art, the DB5.
OK, so it might have been designed by Italian coach builders, Carrozzeria Touring, but the DB5 is as British as they come. A subtly flash car for the gentleman who only wanted to show off a little bit.
It's got just enough character to make you want to be its friend, and yet it's got enough aggression for you to know that it's going to drive really well.
One of the things that is great about it, I noticed, in driving them, is that they drive rather well, and they drive more like an early 70s car. There's a lot of 60s cars really drive the same as a 1950s car, but those Astons don't.
I think when the DB5 came out in the 60s, there was a time when people were sort of beginning to appreciate great cars made in Britain. We had the Jaguar E-Type around that time as well.
The E-Type, like the DB5, was an iconic car of the decade. But while the Jag was the flash motor for the carefree playboy out for a good time, the Aston's more refined image was reflected in the cost. At over £4,000. That's over 80 grand in today's money. It was twice the price of its sexy competitor.
When I used to see one of them, it was like, it's a different league, basically, to E-Type Jag. When you see a car like that, you think, that's it, you got that. It makes you want to own one, and it doesn't matter what age you are, I think you're never going to fall out of love with an Aston Martin.
The DB5 was luxurious. It came equipped with electric windows, wool pile carpet, leather trim, and the obligatory chrome wire wheels. Yet, gorgeous as it is, it's not too dissimilar to the other great Astons of the era.
All of them, when you look back to the DB2s, 3s, 4s, all of them, every one of them was really pretty.
So what is it that makes the DB5 stand out? Why, Mr. Bond, I've been expecting you.
It's probably one of the best product placements of all time. In fact, it probably brought in product placements in films in general, because if anyone says, what's James Bond's car? And Aston Martin, name something with Aston Martin, James Bond. So they both work for each other.
There's a famous photo of Sean Connery. He's sort of leaning up against the DB5, and you do sort of sit there and think, which one would you look at first?
Yes, please, the DB5 and Bond. Marriage made in heaven.
It's almost a bit of a cliche, the DB5, because it is just, it's a boy's wet dream, really, because it's James Bond, and it looked great, and it was silver, and it had all these gadgets.
Thanks, Dom. Yes, on its debut in 1964's Goldfinger, the DB5 showcased a fabulous arsenal of sophisticated secret agent weaponry.
It's that power of Bond that turned it into this iconic fighting machine with guns that came out of lights.
The rotating number plate. Just thinking, oh, this is amazing.
And at the back as well, the bulletproof shade.
They all had sort of buttons, didn't they, to get the oil out the back.
A little bit of oil spillage, boom.
Machine guns.
Why do cars not come with machine guns? They do in Beirut.
But for most of us, one gadget has just a little more oomph than the rest.
Ejector seats.
Definitely the ejector seat.
You just see the guy go flying out.
It's arguably the most famous Bond gadget in the greatest Bond car, but this legendary scene, aided by an urgent climactic soundtrack, was all about suspense. From the moment Q mentioned the device, audiences were desperate for Bond to deliver the dramatic payoff.
I've had a few passengers that I would have liked to have had that little red button for. Bye!
The mother-in-law, the boring friend, the hitchhiker, bang, hit the ejector seat, they're gone.
See you, love.
Good old Aston DB5. Ooh.
We all love the idea of this character that represents the very Britishness of British and you know, saving the world, but doing it in style with a nice tailor and a beautiful car. I could buy into that.
The Bond Link makes this car the flash choice for any wannabe international spy stroke suave ladies man, but it requires a healthy bank balance. To buy one today will set you back over £500,000. That is, unless you want one that Bond's actual bum has sat in which case you're going to need much deeper pockets.
£2.6 million I have now.
Yep, £2.6 million at a London auction in 2010 for a car that, incredibly, Aston Martin once sold on as just another second-hand vehicle.
I'm selling the car. No!
You can't get much more flash than probably the most famous car ever made. We might all dream about owning a DB5, but as only about 1,000 were produced, and they cost a bomb, most of us will have to dream on.
The Lotus Esprit came out of the Geneva Motor Show as a concept in '73, and the same shape-ish lasted until the millennium. That is an amazing production run.
Looking like a space-age doorstop on wheels, the Giorgetto Giorgiario designed Esprit was a dramatic departure from the more classic shape of the Lotus Elan. It was a properly flashy car, perhaps for the young entrepreneur or a kind of 1970s yuppie who liked speed. Lotus claimed it could do 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds.
The Esprit, to me, is without a doubt the best-looking British sports car. I mean, it epitomises what a sports car is. It's just a damn wedge. It's going to cut through the air, no worries. And when Giorgiario designed the thing, he would have had a piece of A4 paper and somebody leaning over him saying, look, just shut up and draw a design. He had a millimetre of lead left. There you go, there's a wedge, make that. And that's what they did.
I think the coolest thing for me, as sad as it is the lights, how they just flop up. Because I remember there was a guy down the street from us who used to have one, and he'd flash you to go, and every now and then he'd just like that, and it was brilliant. Brilliant. The simplest things.
I absolutely love it because it's so damn simple.
On the outside then, the Esprit S1 gloried in its sharp, clean lines. So perhaps it was that stark simplicity that convinced Lotus designers that they could properly go to town on its eye-watering interior.
The interior of the S1 is beautiful. It's one of the few occasions where a concept car's interior has made it into production. It's kind of like this amazingly vibrant green colour with kind of orange and green tartan inserts in the seats.
So if you dug the daring decor, worshipped the wedge shape and had a healthy bank balance, the Esprit was perhaps the perfect sports car for you. Except...
Beautiful design, wonderful car. But they kept breaking down. I had a mate who had one, and I was playing around with perhaps trying to get a second-hand one when they come down in price. But you found out there were very few garages could actually do anything about the car.
I think it got very hot in it because the window only sort of opened that much and it sort of broke down quite a lot.
And just because everybody says it's loads of trouble, usually serious, I don't care. They did break down a lot, but they were always great to drive.
But we can't talk about the Esprit without mentioning its most famous driver.
The Prime Minister is soon at the wheel of a 155-mile-an-hour turbo Esprit.
No, not you, Maggie.
Well, the most famous one, because I was a bit of a fan of Roger Moore. He's my favourite Bond in a funny sort of way. And he had the White Lotus, of course, didn't he, that went swimming. I mean, that would always stay in my memory.
Yes, when Lotus PR man Don McLaughlin heard about plans for The Spy Who Loved Me, he quickly put legendary Bond producer Cubby Broccoli in his sights.
He drove the Lotus to Cubby Broccoli's production office, to the front of the production office, and got Cubby to come out and went, "You have to have this car in your movie."
Cubby snapped it up, and the Esprit found itself at the centre of some of the most memorable sequences in the 007 canon.
It looks fantastic as well when it's driving around those mountain roads and the helicopter chase sequence. It looks amazing, so dynamic and so capable and low and agile.
You ever got a feeling somebody doesn't like you?
And apparently the production removed the bulbs from the rear brake lights because they wanted to show Bond not braking for corners. He was a hero. He wasn't frightened. He'd get that car around there without using the brakes.
This car was amazing. It went underwater.
Yes, not only could the Esprit travel at pace on land, it could also swim.
When I first saw that, it was like, That is the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Echoing Honey Rider's famous entrance in Dr. No, the Esprit drives up onto the beach, apparently roadworthy, but was in fact hauled out of the water on a set of submerged tracks.
That was an iconic car, Roger Moore, going into the sea and then winding down the window and getting a fish out, and then threw the fish out and sort of went, I don't know, to some lady in a bikini.
So maybe the Esprit is the ultimate flash car to have been made on our shores. Perfect for globe-trotting secret agents and, as an added bonus, marine biologists.